Hey, this is Michael J. with This Old Car. Hey, what if I told you that one of the biggest cars ever built in America became a massive success during a fuel crisis? That's right, during a fuel crisis. In the early 1970s, when the world was suddenly worried about gas mileage, Lincoln doubled down on something outrageous. They built a 19-foot chromed-covered luxury battleship with a 7.5-liter V8. That's a 460 cubic inch. And, somehow people couldn't buy them fast enough. This is the story of the Lincoln Continental Mark IV, the car that proved America wasn't ready to give up its land yachts just yet. To understand the Mark IV, you actually have to start with a corporate battle inside Ford Motor Company. And at the center of it was a man who changed the American car industry forever, Lee Iacocca. Yeah, you probably know him as the father of the Mustang, but few people realize he also resurrected Lincoln's personal luxury coupe. In 1968, Lincoln introduced the Continental Mark III. It was big, it was bold, and it had one job: to beat Cadillac. Specifically, the Cadillac Eldorado, which had dominated the luxury coupe market for years. Cadillac had just switched the Eldorado to front-wheel drive, which was cutting-edge technology at the time. Lincoln, they didn't bother. Instead, Iacocca went with something simpler and arguably smarter.
The Mark III is America's most prestigious automobile. Wherever men of means and taste congregate, the Continental Mark III belongs. A special symbol of status, attained by only a very few.
Rear-wheel drive, massive proportions, and styling that looked like a Rolls-Royce crossed with a skyscraper. It worked. The Mark III shocked Detroit. For the first time in years, Lincoln's luxury coupe outsold Cadillac's Eldorado. Hey, quick survey, guys. The Lincoln Mark series or Cadillac Eldorado? Which one would you choose? Leave it in the comments. But just as this success was unfolding, Ford's leadership exploded into conflict. Henry Ford II, the company's powerful chairman, brought in a new president from General Motors named Seaman Bunkie Knudsen. Yeah, that's right, Bunkie. Knudsen had a very different vision for Lincoln. He believed the next Mark should look more European. Round shapes, softer lines, more like Mercedes or BMW. But Iacocca disagreed. He believed something completely different. The next Lincoln needed to be even more American, bigger, bolder, more dramatic. And behind closed doors, two design directions began developing at the same time. One European, one unapologetically American. Then the corporate drama reached its boiling point. In 1969, Henry Ford fired Knudsen after just 18 months, and the American design won.
Continental introduces a new mark. Continental Mark IV. For all of the 1970s, this will be the unique American car.
What rolled out of Lincoln's design studios next wasn't just another luxury coupe. It would become one of the most recognizable American cars of the entire decade. When the Continental Mark IV debuted for the 1972 model year, it was exactly what Iacocca wanted: a rolling monument to American success. At nearly 19 feet long, the Mark IV stretched about 5.8 meters, longer than many modern SUVs today. The design kept the key Lincoln signatures that buyers loved: the Rolls-Royce-style vertical grille, hidden headlights, and, of course, the famous Continental spare tire hump, or just Continental hump. It didn't actually hold a spare tire anymore, but the styling cue dated back to the classic European Grand Tours, if you will. Another feature quickly became one of the most recognizable design elements of the 1970s: opera windows. Those small oval windows behind the doors weren't originally standard equipment, but buyers, well, they loved them so much. Lincoln, well, they made them standard shortly afterward. And then there was the roof. Every Mark IV came with a vinyl roof covering, a popular luxury trend of the era. Today, it might look outdated, but in the 70s, it screamed wealth and prestige. I remember my mom owning a 1976 Ford LTD with that vinyl roof. Oh, man, we were living it up. So we thought. The interior? Pure American luxury. Deep carpets, power everything, automatic climate control, and seats that felt more like living room furniture than car seats. But under the hood, the story gets even more interesting because the Mark IV carried one of the largest engines ever installed in a luxury coupe. Still, the Mark IV, well, it wasn't exactly built for speed. It weighed more than 2 tons. That's 4,000 pounds, or approximately 1,814 kilograms. And it was paired with a 3-speed automatic transmission. But performance wasn't the point. The car was about presence. You didn't drive a Mark IV fast, you glided in it. And buyers loved it, even as the world began shifting towards smaller, more efficient cars. Because just as the Mark IV hit its stride, America was about to experience something that should have killed cars like this overnight. The 1973 oil crisis. In 1973, the world changed. Gas prices, well, they skyrocketed. Lines formed at gas stations. Suddenly, everyone was talking about fuel economy. Japanese and European cars started flooding the American market. Smaller, lighter, more efficient. On paper, the Mark IV should have been doomed. But something strange happened. Sales exploded. In 1972, Lincoln, well, they sold 50,000 Mark IVs. And in 1973, sales jumped to almost 70,000 cars, even in the worst economic years of the decade. The Mark IV still sold tens of thousands. Cadillac's Eldorado, the biggest rival, well, they couldn't keep up. Why? Because the Mark IV wasn't just transportation, it was status. Long hood, chrome everywhere, and presence that filled an entire parking space, and sometimes part of the next one. But Lincoln had another trick up its sleeve, one that turned the Mark IV into a fashion statement. Because in 1976, Lincoln did something no other American automaker had ever tried before. They partnered with fashion designers. Instead of simply choosing colors and trim options, buyers could order a Mark IV designed in collaboration with famous fashion designers. There were 4 options: the Bill Blass edition, the Givenchy edition, the Pucci edition, and the Cartier. Each model came with unique paint colors, interior fabrics, and trim combinations chosen by the designer. The opera windows, well, they even featured the designer's signature. And inside the dash, Lincoln installed an optional 22-karat gold-plated plaque engraved with the owner's name. It was luxury marketing at its finest, and buyers, well, they loved it. By the mid-70s, the Mark IV had become one of the most successful luxury coupes in America. But time was running out for cars like this. By the late 1970s, a second oil crisis hit. Fuel economy rules tightened, insurance rates climbed, and suddenly, cars this big no longer made any sense. Lincoln replaced the Mark IV in 1977 with the Continental Mark V, an even larger car, ironically the biggest Lincoln coupe ever built. But the days of a giant American luxury coupe were numbered. Within just a few years, the entire industry shifted downward, downsizing. Cars got smaller, lighter, more efficient. The age of the land yacht was ending, but the Mark IV had already secured its place in history. It became one of the most successful luxury cars Lincoln ever built. Hey, this is Michael J. I hope you enjoyed the video on the Lincoln Mark IV. Did you or your mom or dad own one of these land yachts? If so, leave your comments below. We want to know. You know, they would call them pimpmobiles today. I love the front of the car. I can do without the tire hump, though. Hey, do me a favor. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave your comments. It really does help me out. This is Michael J. We will see you next week. Thanks for watching.